So the theme is about redesigning the economic system. This is a very complex theme, but what I wanted to bring is really this kind of more holistic perspective of economics, the redesign of economics. And the kickoff for my presentation that I would like you to read is this sentence. And I'll come later on to this topic about property, which is one of the keystones of any economic system. Anyhow, just one quick question. How many economists are there in the room? Just raise your hands, economists? Well, academic background economic? Okay, perfect. So before we start speaking about economic redesign or redesign, first question, because we have to speak the same language that I have today, is somebody tell me what is economics? Please, come. Just tell me something. What is economics? Because we have to know what we're speaking about. Go for it.
Household. How to balance resources, income and outcome.
Income and outcome, balance and resource. Okay. Any other perspective?
That's the study of the flow of the human activity.
Okay, perfect. So now we have two different ideas, right? So one is economics, social science, right? But then, for example, when you hear in the news, the economy is growing. Like the philosophy is growing. What does it mean? So there's different concepts of what is economy, right? Really, right? Actually, what I'm going to take today is one very old definition. 10 years before Adam Smith, this guy James Stewart, he actually published a book called Political Economy. And the interesting about this definition, besides all definitions, is this end part. I really like it because it gives a purpose to economics, which is naturally create reciprocal relations and dependencies between them so as to supply one another with reciprocal wants. Very interesting definition. Although, to keep it simple, I'll go to this one. The Study of Mankind in the Ordinary Business of Life by Alfred Marshall. Just so we know more or less what we're speaking about. And in the first year of economics, we speak about the 3 myths of economics, which I would like just to clear out before we start my presentation. The 3 myths are: 1, there is such thing as economic phenomena or economic events. It doesn't exist such thing as economic events. There are events that happen, and you can, for example, if I sell my book to Elder, this is not an economic event. This is an event which can be studied by psychology, sociology, physics, whatever you want, and also by economics. So there are no such thing as economic events, okay, or economic phenomena. First one. Second one is economics is management. Economics is not and has almost nothing to do with management. Actually, what economics mostly do is tries to observe and study reality in order to model, okay, and to develop systems based on that observation or theory. And then management is those guys who take those systems and try to do something with them in real life. Something like this. And then there are the third myth, which is economics deals with material things, with financial decisions, with money. But, you know, I don't know if you know, but there's economics of happiness, economics of marriage, economics of whatever. Okay, so this is just for you to just think about economics in a little bit different way. Hey, this is in a book. First book of year of economics. Anyhow, these guys, Adam Smith, so on, they were supposedly the founding fathers of economics, although, you know, the name of it and everything comes much further behind. And actually, what the economics thinking has almost nothing to do with this, at least in my perspective. These or these or these, you know, like whatever, and you can talk about this. This is actually, you know, not the point, at least in my perspective. So, if I would give you a picture of economics, or if I would like to demonstrate graphically what economics is, I'll bring you this. So, economics is here. We call it the donut. So basically, here we have the 9 planetary boundaries, very famous now, and then within here we have human systems, human aspirations, okay? What economics basically tries to do is understand the interactions between the ecological systems and the human systems in order to maximize all of this without compromising this. That's basically how economics. So if I would tell you graphically what is economics, this is it. But I'll come back to this because then we'll explore a little bit further on. But this was just to establish a baseline of what I'm talking about. So, and this also comes, I normally go to Schumacher College. And once, last year, I was in a talk with Satish Kumar, if you know about him. And he actually, we were in a fireside chat, and he told us, the nomos always comes and only after the logos. You know what he was talking about? Yeah? Ecology, economy, all this relationship? Okay. And if we actually look at any system, there are three key basic things of any economic system. One is property, the other one is value, and the other one is basically metrics and goals. And they are all correlated. Just to give you an idea, the basic difference between, for example, one of the basic differences between capitalism and socialism is, for example, capitalism, the vast majority of property, of all the factors of production, is private. And then, if everything is private, then you can with the market, supply, demand, prices. For example, in a socialist system, the vast majority of property is common or public. And then the set of prices goes according to different rules. So everything follows property. One of the most important things of any system. And as regarding to property, in a book in 71 by Schumacher, he summarized, well, in terms very simply, of course, these different options, okay? Regarding basically who owns what, how things go around, and how are things managed. So in the top we have, well, let's say capitalism at its peak. Here we have probably, let's say, socialism. My question to you is, where are we? So if, of course, this is all more or less relative and naive, but if you have to say Portugal, 2013, more or less, where are we? So this is who owns what, right? So public or private property, who deals with what, and if freedom means, so no legislation, no jurisdiction, the market works for themselves, or if we say like central control means a lot of legislation, out of control. So where are we? Which C? C5, C6? Okay, perfect. So actually, yeah, we are something like this. It's something we call a plutocracy. We are, well, if we could say it very easily, this is of course very naive, let's say like this, but anyhow, if we could say more or less where we are, yeah, we are something like that. And actually, this system that we've been hearing about, which of course, you know, just concentrates power, wealth, it's working very well for the purpose that it was designed to. Because actually, the system was designed to do exactly what it's doing. So, for any purpose, it's working very well. Okay, I'm not saying I'm agree with it, but I'm just saying, for the purpose that it was designed to, it's working very well. Now, of course, and we have a lot of theories which support or back that up. For example, one of them is monetarism, which advocates total freedom of capital, no legislation, no jurisdiction, and that is just a bunch of theories to support a design system, okay? Which promotes everything that we were saying before. Now, and this is then for example, when people ask the American people, you know, regarding this system, okay, what do you think is ideal? They said, okay, if you distribute the wealth, yeah, some people should get a little bit like the meritocracy, some people should be more wealthy, you know, the middle class should be a strong middle class to support the system, then no people above the, under the poverty line. Then I asked them, okay, what do you think is the actual distribution now? And they said, okay, distribution is something like this. Okay, nice, so not that bad, a little bit worse, we have some poor, And then they show them what the actual distribution is. Beautiful stuff. But you all know about this thing. The point is, this is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, this is important for you to have in mind. This is designed to be like this. Okay, and so this is, and I'll jump from topic to topic, and then I'll come back to sum it up. But anyhow, I actually developed, I wrote something a few time ago. I developed an hypothesis. I call it the HFMA because it's my initials, and I said, any system that promotes and or gives the possibility of continuous concentration and accumulation of power, be it political, economical, environmental, knowledge, or spiritual, is inherent and inevitably unsustainable. This is an hypothesis. This is my theory, my PhD theory, by the way. Anyhow, and yeah, so, and here, what underlines here is a question of design, okay? What is the system designed to do? So my theory is that it's not broken, it's working at its best. Now, regarding property, I'm not going to mention this because they mentioned this, and according to Schumacher, another economist like this, they developed what they call the appropriate scale. They say in any system, by economic or ecological, there are an appropriate scale for certain elements to develop a certain function. And what they say is, well, there is a role for private companies, as was said before, but of course if they grow out of scale, then problems start to arise. There is a scale for example, this is probably more a local scale, this is a regional scale of course, the trust, the comment, etc. If they also grow out of proportion, also problems would come, complexity and energy raises problems. Just for you to understand, for example, something that is happening nowadays. So in the top we have goods, here we have services, there we have well, monetarized economy, and here we have non-monetarized economy. So basically, what we have nowadays is the dominance of one system of monetary exchange, which is, let's say, the euro, the dollar, etc. That's one system. What we've been seeing now, and of course this is older, or as old as humanity itself, there are other systems, right? So we have time banks, we have free cycles. Of course, time banks are majorly local or regional. Free cycle networks are majorly local or regional. Then we have stuff like barter networks, which of course work majorly in terms of services and mainly in terms of monetary economy. Then we have stuff like local currencies, and then we have stuff like credits and point systems. And we have all of these nowadays working together. We have it. At a scale, a bigger or a smaller scale, we have them. The question is, again, a matter of scale. So, to which scale fits what purpose in the system better, right? And another question is how they interact with each other. So imagine that now in Portugal, every big city would have a local money. Okay, how would the local basically, how could we establish trade between different local monies or between different systems of trade or system of value, right? So one of the proposals was something is called the kilowatt currency. Anybody heard about this, kilowatt currency? Yeah, okay, perfect. So this was developed 50 years ago, more than that, because everything is energy. So everything can be converted to energy, time, labor, yeah.
What about if energy is for free?
Yeah, exactly, yeah, but that's another question. But this was the common denominator, but everything is energy. So everything can be converted to energy, and everything can be converted back to whatever you want. So this was a kind of trying to design the interaction between different exchange models. Then, but before we came to that, and we were talking about money right before, and the role of money in the entire system. And my belief is that at its core. So who controls, multiplies, destroys, and allocates money in an economy is like one of the most important things ever. So this idea that banks work like this is a myth. Okay, who believes banks work like this? Okay, nobody. And so let's destroy this. And who believes banks work like this? So yeah, they take your money, they put your money somewhere, and they keep it safe for you. Who believes? No, nobody. Too bad. And actually, I have to really. And one of the reasons banks do not work like that is because I don't know if you have. Do you have any idea? Just for you to know, how much of the money that is in circulation actually exists in coins and notes?
1%? 2%.
2%. Actually, for the UK economy, 97% of the money which is nowadays created, multiplied, exchanged, destroyed, whatever on the world is digital. Actually, it doesn't exist. It's like pressing enters in some computer and then just zeros and ones appearing. Something like this. Well, I'm keeping it simple. And anyhow, when you think about, so who has been creating money in our economy? And you see here, okay, the 60s and then And if you see here, this is central bank. So this is how central banks control the money in the economy, which they don't. And that's private banking who controls actually money in the economy. And you think, okay, why is there a problem in this? Why can't we let Ricardo Espírito Santo and all those other fellows control money? Well, okay, and this is for Portugal. This is different. Well, this doesn't matter. One of the reasons is because this is directly correlated with what is called the boom and bust cycles. So, for example, when people ask, why the hell was such a huge inflation in house prices? So, house prices, like there was almost 300% inflation, and people were asking, where did it come from? So, were there more people? Were there more parity? So people were able to buy more houses? Like, so supply, demand, and actually there's nothing to do with that. The only reason why there was such a rise in house prices, inflation, etc., was basically because of easy lending. So, as somebody spoke already before. And actually, there's a direct correlation between boom and bust cycles and, of course, the property of banks to create money without almost no regulation. So it's inherent in the system, it was designed. What is more beautiful is boom and bust cycles create even bigger inequalities. So it's within the system. It's beautiful, actually. If you see it in like this perspective, it works really well. Anyhow, and another thing which is actually unbelievable is, this is in Portugal. So if I ask you, in terms of what's the percentage of a loan bank, so when banks create money, what's the percentage that actually goes to what we call the real productive economy? So A0, B22, C43, D68. Well, what do you think? Fantastic, exactly. So basically, imagine of all of that money, beautiful amount of money, millions and trillions of money created every day, multiply, exchange all over the world, 8%. 8% goes to the real productive economy. Everything else is what we call the casino economy. Speculation, playing around, da-da-da-da. So, just for you to have an idea of why maybe this is not the best design for everybody. Anyhow, and there are Okay. There are inherent things that, because I added more slides just to explain this stuff, but anyhow, there are inherent things which we can actually redesign. One of them, we are talking about positive interest. So yeah, it's true. Nowadays, we have debt. Do we need that? No, not really. Like maybe 100 years ago, if the government wanted money, the government issued money. It didn't own to anybody, it just issued money. What's the problem with that? No problem. Then it just has to control the amount of money in circulation because of inflation. But there's no real need for that. Nobody said there's a real need for that. And also, there is not a real need for positive interest money. There can be, and that already historically happened, negative interest money, which means that money loses value. What is actually encouraged people is to spend money and to invest in long term. This has occurred. Why not? And actually, I was very surprised because one of the guys from the European Central Bank actually said that they are considering to put negative interest on money. Why? Because to put money to circulation in the economy, as somebody said, rolling. So there are many different ways of thinking about this stuff. And again, who actually is the entity responsible for issuing money in an economy? I'm not going to explain how this works. I'm just leaving with something. How can this be redesigned? One of the best proposals now that is being, let's say, delivered to the UK government is basically this, towards the 21st century banking and monetary system. What they are appealing is, go back to the full reserve system, because what allows banks to create money is what they call fractional reserve. Anybody's comfortable with this, or should I just go along? Yeah, fractional reserve? No? Okay. So basically, it's going back to the full reserve system and separating what is private lending or what is investment banking and traditional banking. This is already being redesigned and is already in charge. And this is actually at the core of most of the inequalities nowadays. But just to finish with what I call the GDP mania, because this is to finish with the metrics and the goals. We have come to a point in which we designed this system which works very best to create inequality, and just keeps on focusing on this, which is a very, how can I say, it's very hard, it's very easy to just bump on GDP because it's so bad at almost every level. It's so, how can I say, it's so bad. It's really, it doesn't have, how can I say this? Oh, anyway, it's really bad. So one of the main things about redesigning our system is completely redesigning the metrics by which we actually look at the system. And one of them is completely drop GDP, which is of course completely possible. It's just a matter of political will. So going back to this, let me just see, So going back to this, when you think about redesigning the economic system, this was the beginning of my talk, property, value, and metrics, basically is looking at this with really proper eyes. And it's more than just valuing natural capital. Yeah, that's nice, but that's also monetization of reality. We have to go a little bit more beyond that. And this is what they call the donut economy. So I will invite you to look into it. Just to finish, so redesigning our economic system, what would mean would do redesigning according to appropriate scale and function. So like a permaculture design, looking at all the elements in the system and designing according to appropriate scale and function. Respect the laws of thermodynamics, physics, as well as natural laws, which bound human behavior based on empirical evidence and holistic vision. Because one of the things about economics is it has no connection with reality, if anybody here studied economics. And the last thing is, it's more about principles than doctrines. So it's not about, okay, let's drop capitalism and bring some ism again. Just drop the ism and just go back to the principles. Anyhow, I hope it was not too fast. Thank you very much for